Let me tell you something real quick. Some of y'all are grown, got jobs, pay bills, raising kids, got a car, a house, but deep down inside, you're still that little child who never got hugged. Still that little boy who never got told, "I'm proud of you." Still that little girl who learned how to stay quiet because nobody listened when she cried. And you wonder why you keep sabotaging your relationships. You wonder why you can't trust nobody. You wonder why success feels uncomfortable. It's because your trauma is still in the driver's seat and you're just riding in the back. You can't fix what you don't face. That pain you're carrying, that anger, that fear, that anxiety, it didn't just come out of nowhere. Somewhere along the line, something happened. Somebody said something. Somebody did something. Somebody did something. And instead of helping you heal from it, life told you to be quiet, to move on, to toughen up. But that pain, it didn't go away. It just found a new place to live inside you. And until you recognize that it's there, until you stop acting like it's not bothering you, you'll never start healing. Let me tell you something real. Healing doesn't start with pretending you're okay. Healing starts with honesty. Real, raw, sometimes ugly honesty. The kind where you look yourself in the mirror and say, "Yeah, I'm still hurt by what happened to me when I was little." Or, "I never got over how my mama treated me." Or, "I've been angry at the world because my daddy walked out." That's where the real work begins. You see, childhood trauma is tricky. It's like a shadow that follows you around even when the sun is shining bright. It whispers lies in your ear, tells you you're not good enough, not worthy of love, not strong enough to succeed. And the worst part? You start believing it. You start making decisions based on old pain, avoiding love, sabotaging opportunities, pushing people away because somewhere deep inside, that little version of you is still scared, still confused, still crying out for someone to say, "I see you. You matter. You didn't deserve what happened to you." And let me tell you something. There's no shame in feeling broken. There's no weakness in acknowledging you've been wounded. In fact, it takes strength to go back and face the things that tried to break you. It takes courage to stop running and start feeling. A lot of people walk around acting tough, acting like they've got it all together, but deep down they're carrying around a suitcase full of trauma that they refuse to unpack. But guess what? That suitcase is heavy. And if you don't unpack it, it's going to slow you down your whole life. Recognizing the root doesn't mean you blame your past forever. It means you give yourself the permission to understand it. Because once you understand it, you can start changing it. You can start saying, was then, this is now. I'm not that scared little kid anymore. I'm not powerless. I'm not voiceless. I'm not broken beyond repair. You begin to rewrite the story, not for the people who hurt you, but for you. Because you deserve peace, you deserve freedom, and you deserve to live a life that's not built on fear, but on purpose. So if you're still walking around with that trauma, don't be ashamed. Be honest. Sit with it, look it in the face, cry if you need to. But don't run from it anymore. Recognizing that you're still hurting doesn't make you weak. It makes you ready. Ready to heal, ready to grow, and ready to reclaim the joy, the power, and the destiny that's always been yours. You're not a victim of your past. You're a survivor with a future. Now let's go get it. See, what most people don't realize is that the little version of themselves, the one who was hurt, abandoned, or ignored, is still inside them today. That little boy or little girl didn't just disappear because you grew up. No, they stayed right there, tucked deep down inside, waiting for someone to finally listen. And here you are, grown, working, paying bills, making moves, but deep inside, that child is still crying, still asking questions like, "Oh, why didn't anyone protect me?" Or "Why wasn't I enough?" That voice you keep hearing when you're alone, that's not just anxiety. That's your inner child trying to speak up, trying to be seen and heard after all these years. You know, we live in a world that teaches us to forget. Or move on, they say. Or let it go, they say, but nobody tells you how. Nobody tells you that ignoring your inner child doesn't silence them, just buries their pain deeper. And sooner or later, that pain shows up. It shows up in your relationships, in your temper, in your overthinking, in your fear of being loved. That's your inner child screaming, "Oh, please don't abandon me again." You think you're just scared of getting hurt. But deep down, it's that kid inside who remembers exactly what hurt feels like. And they're trying to keep you safe the only way they know how. By pushing love away, by building walls, by staying silent. But let me tell you this. Healing starts when you listen to that child. When you sit down, maybe in your quiet time, and you say, I see you, I know you're hurting, and I'm here now. That's powerful. That's life-changing. Because when you talk to your inner child like they matter, like their pain wasn't imagined or exaggerated, you begin to create space for healing. You begin to show yourself the kind of love and protection you never received. I remember times in my own life where I was just angry and I didn't know why. Bored of creeps, snapping at people, getting defensive over small things. And then I realized, oh, that's not just today's frustration. That's that little boy inside of me saying, oh, why didn't anybody ever show up for me? That moment changed my whole perspective. Because I stopped blaming people for how I was reacting and started taking responsibility for healing the one voice that had been silenced for too long mine. And here's the truth. Your inner child doesn't want perfection. They don't need you to fix everything. They just need to be acknowledged. They need you to stop pretending that what happened didn't matter. They want to know that their story counts, that their tears were real. When you start honoring that pain, not avoiding it, everything changes. You start showing up different. You start loving better. Stop settling. Because when the little you feels safe, the grown-up you becomes powerful. So I'm telling you today, don't ignore that voice inside. Don't drown it out with busyness or distraction. Sit with it, listen to it, speak back with love. Because the moment you start hearing your inner child is the moment you begin the most important relationship of your life, the one with yourself. And when you heal that, baby, you unlock everything. Peace, purpose, power. It's all waiting on the other side of that conversation. Let me tell you something real. Trauma doesn't knock on your door dressed like trauma. It shows up in ways you don't even recognize. It hides behind your anger. It slips into your silence. It wraps itself in your perfectionism and it smiles through your people-pleasing. You're thinking you just got a short temper or you're just tired all the time. But let me be straight with you. That's not just personality, that's pain. That's unresolved stuff from way back still calling the shots in your grown-up life. And the worst part? You're so used to carrying it that you think it's normal that you ever find yourself walking away from good people, pushing away opportunities that you prayed for. That ain't coincidence, that's your defense mechanism. That's what trauma does. It teaches you how to protect yourself even when you don't need protecting anymore. See, when you've been let down enough times, your brain learns to expect disappointment. So you sabotage blessings before they can even settle in. You stay guarded, stay distant, stay small because somewhere deep down, you believe it's safer that way. And that belief, that's trauma whispering in your ear, telling you you're not worthy, not ready, not enough, till you want to know why you can't trust? Why you flinch when someone gets too close emotionally? It's not because you're broken. It's because once upon a time, you learned that trust equals pain. Maybe your parents weren't there. Maybe someone you loved betrayed you. Maybe you were constantly criticized, made to feel like you weren't good enough. And now every time someone shows you love, it feels foreign, almost dangerous. That's trauma. It doesn't yell. It doesn't come in loud. It's quiet. It's subtle. It's disguised as your daily habits, your thoughts, your beliefs that you think you're procrastinating because you're lazy. Nah, sometimes you're procrastinating because deep down, you're scared of failing, or worse, scared of succeeding and not knowing what to do with the joy. That's trauma too. It convinces you to stay where it's comfortable, even when comfort means chaos. You've lived in survival mode for so long that peace feels suspicious. But here's what I want to tell you. Just because trauma shows up uninvited don't mean it gets to stay. Once you see it for what it is, once you learn its patterns, its disguises, you can start taking your power back. Healing ain't about pretending the past didn't happen. It's about recognizing how the past is still affecting your present and choosing to deal with it differently. Choosing to respond with awareness instead of reacting out of pain. It takes courage, real courage, to sit down with your wounds, to say, I know why I do this now. I see you, trauma. But you don't get to run my life no more. That's how transformation begins. That's how you go from being ruled by your past to being fueled by it. And let me tell you something, when you start doing that inner work, when you start unmasking the lies trauma told you, your entire life begins to shift. You love differently. You breathe differently. You stop running and start standing. So stop saying that's just the way I am. No, it's the way you learn to survive. But now, it's time to live. It's time to heal. It's time to call out every disguise and declare to yourself, I see what hurt me, but I refuse to let it define me. Because once you do that, once you face what's hiding, you unlock the future that's been waiting on you this whole time. Now, let me break something down for you that most people don't want to hear. Just because you're avoiding your pain doesn't mean you're healing. It just means you're putting it off. You're sweeping it under the rug, hoping time will do what you don't want to do. Face it. But hear me loud and clear. Time doesn't heal all wounds. What heals wounds is intention. What heals wounds is confrontation. What heals wounds is choosing to walk through the fire instead of pretending it's not there. The avoidance feels like relief in the moment. You stay busy, you distract yourself, you pour yourself into work, into people, into scrolling, into anything that keeps your mind from going back to those painful memories. But pain that is ignored doesn't disappear. It waits. It settles in the quiet corners of your life, showing up when you least expect it. It hides in your relationships, in your insecurities, in your fears. You think you're avoiding the problem, but really you're just allowing it to grow in the dark. And let me tell you something else. Nobody can outrun their past forever. At some point, life is going to bring it back around, and if you don't deal with it, it's going to deal with you. That unresolved childhood pain, it'll show up in your parenting. That trauma you refuse to talk about, it'll bleed into your marriage. That rejection you never processed, it'll echo in every room you walk into, making you question your worth. Even when you're winning, the avoidance is just emotional procrastination. Stop thinking there's a timeline for your pain. You're not late. You're not broken beyond repair. You're right on time for your own miracle. And don't you dare let anybody rush you through something they've never had to carry. This is your race, your road, your story. God's not impatient with your process, so why are you? He sees you fighting through it. He sees the nights you didn't give up when you wanted to. He sees the moments you chose grace instead of bitterness. You may not be fully healed yet, but you're healing. And that's enough. That's beautiful. Let yourself be a work in progress. Let yourself rest when it's hard. Celebrate the days you feel light. Be kind to yourself on the days you feel heavy. And never forget, every tear you've cried, every truth you've spoken, every painful memory you faced, it's all part of the process. And that process is taking you somewhere powerful, Doc. So no, healing is not a switch. It's not a moment. It's a movement. One step at a time. One breath at a time, one act of courage at a time. You're not failing, you're unfolding. Keep going, you're closer than you think. Let me leave you with this right here. What happened to you wasn't your fault, but healing from it is your responsibility. You can't control what they did, what they said, how they left, or what they broke in you. But you can decide what happens next. You can decide that the trauma don't get the final word. You can decide that the pain stops running your life starting today. You ain't got to have all the answers right now. You just got to be willing to walk forward with faith, even if you're scared, even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble. That little child inside you, the one who didn't feel safe, who didn't feel seen, is still waiting on you to say, I got you now. Got you now about pretending to be okay. This is about being honest and courageous enough to start doing the work. And when you do that, when you finally look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not going to let my past own me, that's when the shift happens. That's when real change begins. Don't waste another season stuck in the pain of what you survived. You didn't come this far to stay broken. You didn't make it through all of that just to sit in the rubble. You came out of that fire for a reason, and that reason is your purpose. Now let me tell you, there is so much more ahead of you than there is behind you. God's not done with you, not even close. All not too damaged, not too late, not too far gone. You're becoming. And every scar you carry is proof that you didn't give up, that you're still here. So hold your head up, dry your eyes, and take your next step. Because your healing doesn't just free you, it frees everybody coming after you. Let that be your legacy, not the pain, but the power you chose in spite of it.